Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. How you guys doing? Hope you guys are all doing well. I really hope you can't hear that drilling in the background. You guys will have to tell me in the comments if you can. Hopefully you can't. I can't do anything about it. It's next door doing drilling. So hopefully it's not. It's just fate in the background on the mic, and that you could just kind of hear my voice overriding it more than anything. But welcome to Good Morning. It is a Tuesday morning. It is the 9th of September. We're going to look at today's daily quota, and we're going to have a look at some of the news that's happening in the UK specifically. Going to go a bit backwards and then what we normally do as well, we'll also check out some of the weather as well. So let's start with today's daily quota, which is the 9th of September. Here it is, just for reference, guys. There it is, the 9th of September there. Today's one is from Robert Frost and says, the best way out is always through. The best way out is always through. Very simple message. Best way out is always through. Indeed. Oh, very nice one for tomorrow as well. There's a nice one tomorrow, but you'll have to be up nice and early if you want to see tomorrow's daily quota, because we'll be opening up at 8 a.m. just for reference. So tomorrow's morning live stream will be at 8 a.m. just for reference, guys. Will not be at 11 o'clock because we have Prime Minister's questions just for reference there as well. So let's go and have a look and see what's happening in today's weather report. As we got here at the moment, let's have a look at some of the temperatures and that are happening around Europe here. We can see some of the temperatures there. A bit warmer down in the southern areas, but other parts not too bad. Paris 20, London 18, Bern 17, Nice 24, Rome 26, Madrid 24, Lisbon 21, Bucharest 23, Kiev 20, Warsaw 19, Berlin 21, Prague 20. There's some different temperatures there, but nothing too serious or too bad there. At the moment, there is obviously, as you can see here, if you go by the time today, next couple of hours, you can see some rain hitting, some rain and forecast some showers coming through there. And if I scroll it over into the next day, you can see that over the next couple of days, there will be some showers and splutterings coming, especially in Scotland tomorrow as well. Definitely going to be hitting some rains there. But let's have a little bit of a deeper dive here and see what some of the temperatures and rain that is predicted today. This will be 7 o'clock later on today is what they're predicting here. Good morning, person A. I hope you are doing well. Temperature 17, 18 degrees. Kings Leon 19 degrees there. Colchester 17, London 18 in the evening, so it won't be too bad. It definitely was a lot cooler last night than it was the day before. Definitely felt that there. But as you can see there, as we looked at forecast for you, and we looked at weather yesterday, as you can see, it's big plump of rain is going to be coming in. 14, 15 degrees. This is going to be later on. So yeah, you're going to be getting some showers, especially if you're traveling around in the evenings, traveling back from work or going to work, because some people do late night shifts. Be aware of that. Temperatures in most parts 17, 18 degrees. Nothing too bad really tonight. Nothing too much, I would say. Glasgow and Edinburgh 17, 15, Albany 16, Dundee 16, Stonehaven, Aberdeen 14 respectfully there, Fort William 16, Inverness 17 there. If I scroll a bit back out, it's not too bad in terms of not too much weather there for a Tuesday there, just for reference there. But if we go to tomorrow at 1 o'clock, this is 1 o'clock in the afternoon here. As you can see, as we saw this big rain here that is going to come overnight. Pretty much tomorrow evening, pretty much that rain, that big shower of rain, high winds is going to come through, and it's going to be hitting quite hard there. So yeah, Wednesday I would advise, obviously, probably best not to do too much traveling Wednesday evening if you can help it. If you're up in Scotland there, you're going to get high winds as well. If I actually open up the winds there, if we can see there, you can see some pretty strong gusts of wind. You can see there from the numbers there. 22, 21 degrees, some of the winds. So it's going to be quite strong, those winds there. So just do be careful if you are living up in Scotland. But you guys are also used to it as well, so you should be able to respond accordingly to them there. Stephen Banker, good morning. Good to see you. I hope you are doing well. But yeah, there'll be definitely lots of rain and showers. Scrolling a bit further down, out into England here, north of England or into the Midlands there, you can see some spots of showers there. But winds... Some winds are still very high here, not as high as some of the parts of Scotland, but still going to be high winds there. And you can see here, if we scroll over again, that big blob of rain is going to be hitting into Wales. I imagine it's going to hit right into it later on, probably. No, doesn't look like it's going to go. It'll hit parts of Wales. That's for parts of Wales is going to be feeling those rains, and yeah, there's going to be drizzles of it, pockets of it, pretty much all over Wednesday. So yeah, do expect a raincoat or a brolly. Probably not a brolly, probably a raincoat more than anything, because there's going to be some winds there. You can see the wind temperatures there quite high as well. Again, these are temperatures and winds and whatnot you're expecting anyway, so it's perfectly normal for this kind of weather. So again, just take all necessary precautions. If you scroll up to Thursday evening, guys, this is what Thursday looks like at the moment. I'm just going to scroll back out just so you can see overall this is Thursday here. Thursday 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Again, there'll be rain dropping in different parts of the UK. 17, 18 temperatures there. Winds quite strong again. Some pretty strong, ferocious winds. Very strong winds on the coast. Do take care if you're living on the coast as well there. But lots of rain still forecast, so there's going to be lots of storms there. James Connolly, Scott Hayes, Alison Keir, Peter M. Good morning to you all. Hope you guys are doing well. I know you're running late. It's totally fine. It happens. Good to see you guys. Hope you guys are all doing well. Again, temperatures here 14, 13, 15, 16 in degrees there. And again, some rain forecast here and there. Temperatures aren't too bad. Used to them as well. So around this time of the season. But again, more and more rain. And again, if we go up to Scotland here, we can see this big storm here. It's really engulfing quite a huge chunk of it. So again, please take caution as always there. And we'll just have a quick nose on Friday. Again, just a quick nose on Friday just before we head out. There, more rain is forecast. Obviously, this is Friday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. There you can see some scatter showers. Again, going to be coming around. Temperatures and winds going to be high again. So the next couple of days, you're going to be expecting quite a bit of this. So just do take precautions when doing so, guys. So, and everyone just saying good morning to everyone. Quiet for now. And yep, all good stuff, guys. But yeah, that's some of the forecast weather that we are expecting over the next few days. We're going to start, right, as we said, we're going to go through UK news. Just a reminder that later on at 6 o'clock, there'll be global news covering news from outside the UK. So if you could join me for that, it'd be greatly appreciated. Start with the Telegraph here. Let's see what the Telegraph are saying. Now, bear in mind, I can't open any of the articles here from the Telegraph, just for reference here. So the front they've got here, Bridget Phillipson enters the Labour deputy leadership race. I think we were expecting that, to be fair, anyway, when we were talking a little bit about it yesterday. The true scale of the NHS failure revealed for the first time, apparently. Kieran Baganout tells Starmer, let's work together to cut the welfare bill. I've seen this story around this morning. In fact, actually, I saw it tweeted late last night. UK Politics. I tweeted this late last night when I saw this story, and I have to say this is quite demonstrous. Like, to cut the welfare. Like, I mean, let's make people's lives worse. How can we make people's lives worse? Is basically what they're saying there. It's just shameful. Britain is to suspend visas for countries failing to take illegals back to migrants, says Marwood. We talked about that yesterday. 2-for-1 entry to Legoland among unions. Tube strike demands. What? Remember, this is the Telegraph here. Thankfully, could be unmasked as police investigate latest stunt. This is just to kind of again undermine unions, undermine workers' strikes, claiming that we want to go to Legoland. That's their way of trying and dumb down their demeanors and all that kind of stuff, guys. Class action, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well, and thank you, Alison Keir, for the 5 gifted memberships to Just a Housewife, Turn the Blue Iris, Doc Davis, Scott, and Paula Thomas. Thank you guys all. Thank you guys all for being members. Thank you, Alison Keir, for gifting them memberships. Much appreciate your support there. Well, sometimes they could be Welsh or Scottish news stories. Class action, they could be as well. What else is there? Terrorists freed after revealed as Danish spy. French PM, don't let France become like Britain. Yeah, they don't. I don't think they're going to Frexit, if I'm honest, guys. BBC wrong to cancel Bagpuss after 13 episodes. Says Emily, family of creators. Anything else here that the Telegraph want to indulge their propaganda on us? True scale of the NHS for failure revealed for the first time. Fugitive wanted by FBI fights extradition from Wales over fees that could be sent to El Salvador. BBC breakfast boss has been cleared of bullying allegations. Britain's among the worst in Europe for diagnosing diabetes as well. What's that story on the bottom? How does Burger King's new Whopper... Okay. What true drivers don't want you to know about their pay? Okay, sure. We have to bear in mind, this is the Telegraph, guys. So, again, like, it's just like, it is propaganda from them. So, do bear that in mind. Let's see what the Times are saying for us here, guys. So we're going backwards here. Phillips and Thornberry joined the race for deputy leader. Emily Thornberry tweeted, I think it was last night or this morning, that she said she basically officially is entering the race. She is one of the favourites to get in. I don't know if she will or not, but we'll see, obviously, over time. Mandelson calls Epstein at best pal in a birthday note. Oh, did you? Oh, how did that go? How's that going? How did that go? Your best pal. Very, very interesting. Boris Johnson used contacts from Time SPM to fund life after number 10. Yeah, there's it's a massive exclusive story from The Guardian. If we get to it, we'll have a look at it. If we get to The Guardian there. The Time to have all their articles behind paywall, so won't be able to open it up here. Reganelite invites Starmer to discuss welfare cuts. Yeah, I don't think you want to talk about cuts from your party. I think you've killed enough people. Thank you very much. Number 10 struggles to find loyalists in Labour's deputy leader race. A fair deal for all workers paid for Jeff Bezos' wedding fund. Deputy vote is a referendum on Starmer's leadership and politics, apparently, there as well. Thank you, Stephen Banker, for the £2 super chat. Just to say thank you. No, thank you for your support. I appreciate it. And appreciate you, Chatty Rat, and Ellie coming on the Discord after chat last night as well. It was very nice to chat to people, even if some people were listening in. Won't be doing a chat tonight. I'm going to try and do one again next Monday. So if anyone wants to join us next Monday for another Discord chat, more than welcome to join us. Not going to do one Wednesday. I'll be too knackered. May do one on Thursday after the mental health live stream, possibly. I haven't decided just yet, but possibly will. Israel is not committing genocide in Gaza. Government concludes. A letter from David Lammy, sent when he was Foreign Secretary, says the war does not meet the criteria and he calls Israel's bombing utterly appalling. Okay, sure. And here he is holding hands with Israel. Cornwall should be recognised as a nation, petition demands. Among 23,000 signatories, calls for the country to be given the devolved powers. Reform councillors claim the campaign is sowing a division. Yeah, that's quite a big strong to say that. Starmer will back workers' rights bills despite Lord's amendments. Anti-Semitism march was far harder to sell this time. Apparently, what else they've got here? These are a couple of old stories. Unions fear Starmer will walk down workers' rights after Rayner quits. Yeah, and that was yesterday. That's a couple of days ago there. Let's check the front of UK on the Times. Let's see what they're saying here. What else as well? British Museum under pressure to end fossil fuel ties. Judge orders outrage after wishing 7/7 mastermind all the best. Yeah, why would you say that? That's not a good thing to say. Politics, we already looked at that. RMT threatened to extend tube strikes to the Elizabeth line. Yeah, been severe disruptions yesterday travelling. Banksy mural on the court building backs Palestine protests. Yeah, they've covered it up, the mural from Banksy. They covered it up. It's pretty despicable. And our pedicade free for all in London SD card plots fair rules. Excuse me. Stories in Scotland here. Sturgeon under fire for claims she was too open in memoir. Blonde bar manager wins payout over Aryan comments by boss, apparently. Pointless opinion pieces there. Half a Gondel goodbyes worth 4 million contain secrecy clauses. University at the centre of cuts rail wasted through thousands on racism project. Again, this is the Times, so do take these stories with a pinch of salt. Scientists need you to help map the world's microplastics, apparently, as well. Ofsted presses ahead with Nando-style report despite criticism. What is Nando-style report? What does that mean? Nando-style report. What's that supposed to be? Gap between the state and private schools revealed in a major poll of parents. Yeah, it's still too wide. I'm hoping the gap is closed. It's starting to close a little bit thanks to the VAT, but I'm not holding my breath on that, guys. Thank you, Alison Keir, for £2 super for the £2 super chat. Or how DPR. Thank you so much for that. Really, really appreciate it. Yeah, it's yeah. I'm probably going to do one on Thursday after the mental health live stream on Thursday. Probably. That's what I will likely do there. Let's see what the Financial Times are saying for us today. UK Home Secretary threatens visa bans if countries don't play ball on migrant returns. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. UK consumer confidence slumps among over 65s, but surges in young, sharp age divide after Labour's won the 2024 general election. Reeves to tell Minister to prioritise the fight against inflation. Reform vows to cancel Labour's Northern Rail plans. Deputy Leader Richard Tice says routes linking Manchester, Leeds and Liverpool are a waste of money. Well, what do you propose then? What's your alternative then? Okay, Mr. Know-it-all. What do you propose, Richard Tice, then, if you're going to cancel the Northern Rail plan? See, this is the kind of stuff that really angers me, you know. Labour are going to stop infrastructure projects, and then you can see reform coming in and just scrapping them. It's so infuriating. Heathrow Terminal reopens after police say no adverse substances found. Yeah, there was an incident last night causing Heathrow to close for a bit. London Fire Brigade called to possible hazardous materials incident at the airport. Labour launches deputy leadership contest after Ryan's departure. Labour pledges to push on with UK workers' rights bill. They're still going to push on with it, but again, we don't know how watered down it's going to be until it's completely until it's put into law and what amendments are being made. Still take it with a pinch of salt a little bit. And these are old stories. Pretty old stories, some of these. One Angry Pagan, good to see you, buddy. Hope you are doing well. Make sure you check out One Angry Pagan's YouTube channel there. Or How the Badger, indeed. Health departments sound out private infectors to fund NHS centres in England. Yeah, we need to stop relying on private healthcare, please. Russian director Alexander Motorov's theatre will last longer than Putin. I hope so. UK infrastructure financing on track to reach record high. Bring back leather dress shoes. It's a fashion accessory. Okay, sure. Let's have a quick look at the homepage. See what the FT are saying here. US immigration race sparks alarm at foreign companies. Yeah, that was a big story. I'm going to cover that on Patreon. I'm going to cover it on Patreon. Murdoch seals 3.3 billion successive deal to hand empire to his eldest son. Reeves tell minister to prioritise fight against inflation. Anglo-American and tech resources to create 50 billion mining giant. Political turmoil pushes France into Euro therapy, said investors. Macron scouts new prime minister to quell turmoil. Yeah, the thing is, it doesn't matter. It honestly does not matter who Macron gets in as the new prime minister. It's just going to be the same thing all the time. They're gonna say no to whatever his government is. They want the Macron gone in the houses. Anything else worth looking at? Reform vows to cancel Northern Rail plans. We looked at already. Israel military orders evacuation of Gaza City. Phipson and Thornbury joins a race to be deputy leader. Norway's resurgent right forces left wing to the fruity coalition. Interesting. BYP predicts car brand clear out in China as Beijing cracks down on discounting. Preta Manager writes down a third of its value from 2018 JB tag over there. Big oil slashes jobs and investments as crude oil prices bite. Goldman Sachs wins £40 billion pension mandate from Shell funds there. That's some of the stories there happening from the Financial Times there. Switching gears from the Financial Times to the iPaper. See what the iPaper are saying today here. This is under their politics. So Ofsted won't grade schools outstanding anymore. Here's what parents should know. Ofsted is replacing its 30-year-old inspection system with a new framework using school report cards. Is this behind a paywall? Can we actually read this? From outstanding down to good requires improvements or in worst case inadequate. There are words that will instantly chime with anyone who has searched for a decent state school for their child. They have the power to make or break head teachers, send local houses spiraling, cost or end struggling for inadequate schools. But now Ofsted is about to ditch its grading system that is used to assess schools for the last 3 decades. Ofsted's Chief Inspector, Sir Martin Oliver, announced that the old grades will be going from November, when a whole new inspection framework is introduced using report cards. Teachers' unions has criticised the reforms as rushed and cosmetic, arguing the new cards will fail to give parents an accurate reflection of schools' performances, while placing even greater stress on school leaders. But the changes are coming anyway, giving parents just weeks to get to grips with them, and this is what they need to know. The controversial use of single overarching grades like outstanding or inadequate to sum up an entire school's work was dropped by the Education Watchdog at the start of the last academic year. Government scrapped the use of these single word judgments following a campaign by teachers and others to reform this high stakes, puncturing element of this accountability system. It followed the death of Ruth Perry, head teacher, who took her own life in 2023 while waiting for an inadequate Ofsted verdict on her school, Casham Primary School, Reading, to be published. But the words themselves have lived on, used for grades awards to specific parts of school work until now. Ofsted admits that the old grading system was well established and extensively copied and well understood, but the regulators also said that because 90% of schools were graded either good or outstanding, the grade descriptions have become unhelpful to parents trying to distinguish between schools and unfair to the schools themselves. And from November, a new 5-point grading scale will be introduced for inspectors to rate particular elements of a school's work. The new grades are urgent improvements, need extension, expected standards, strong standards, exceptional. The new system will exist alongside the old until all schools have a new style inspections, and a process that will take years. But Sir Martin stressed that no comparison can be made between the 5 new grades and any grades used in the old framework. And changes to specific area will look at school inspections also being made. The old system judged 4 subcategories: equality of education, behaviour and attitudes, personal development, leadership and management. Under the new framework, inspectors will look at 6 inclusions: curriculum and teaching, achievement, attendance and behaviour, personal development and well-being, and leadership and governance. The inclusion category is new and intends to raise standards for disadvantaged and vulnerable students by encouraging school leaders to offer high-quality support. Each of these areas will be given separate grades from the new 5-point grading scale. Ofsted will also inspect safeguarding and describe it as either met or not met as part of the evaluation of schools and other education institutions like nurseries and colleges. Ofsted is introducing new report cards designed to give parents an at-a-glance summary of the school. The card will use colour-coded table for easy understanding, with the colour ranging from red for urgent employment and blue for exceptional. Ofsted states that report cards have been designed to give parents more nuance, while also identifying more precisely areas for improvement. So this is what they'll be using. Green and red, orange needs urgent attention. I will use green really. I will use green rather than blue for exceptional, but that's just me. But yeah, they're just trying to make it easier for people. This is what some of it will look like. A mock-up of the report card using a fake school. How it would look: school standards, curriculum intensity. Parents can click on each section to get a detailed report there. Head teachers are still struggling. That would be impossible for the inspectors to accurately judge each evaluation area during the 2 days they spend at each school, meaning the new system will be inherently unreliable. Pepe, General Secretary of Association of School and College Leaders, ASCL, warned that the new system will not provide an accurate reflection of the school performance while still adding pressure to staff. As we have warned on many occasions, it will not be possible to apply reliably a 5-point grading scale across multiple evaluation areas during the course of a single inspection, he said. Even with the number of evaluation areas slightly streamlined, this exercise requires inspectors to make large numbers of finely balanced judgments in a very short space of time. Regardless of the amount of training delivered, it is unlikely that inspection teams will be able to do this consistently between different settings, and the result will be a system that is inherently unreliable. Paul Whiteman, General Secretary of the National Association of Head Teachers, echoed these concerns, saying grading might appear clear for parents, but to try and judge schools definitely across so many areas during which is simply a 2-day snapshot seriously risks them being given unfair and misleading judgments. So what are they suggesting? A whole week from Monday to Friday for them to do the inspections? Is that what they're suggesting here? I think honestly, if If 2 days is not enough time, which I think that is pretty strong case for it, would 5 days, Monday to Friday, be sufficient? Like a whole week for them to spend that time to make that assessment. Ofsted has insisted that parents are on board with the new framework, and an independent YouGov poll on the view of Parents commissioned by Ofsted found that 2/3, 67% said they preferred the new report card, and 15% saying they preferred the old style report. Ofsted added in its report on the responses to the consultation that focus groups YouGov held with parents heard similarly strong support. Will there be enough inspectors? That's another question as well. Very interesting. I think that was worth reading a little bit into, guys. Definitely going to be interesting to see how it goes. Like, here's the thing. Like, whenever you do new systems or big changes like these, excuse me, there's always going to be issues. There's always going to be flaws. There's always going to be problems when they first start out. But that's when, as you start doing it more and more, you start tweaking it that benefits everybody over time. So the system that they've had has not been adequate in my view. I mean, the fact that it led to a teacher taking her own life speaks of huge volumes about it. And he says, I'm not comfortable around people. She seemed rigid. Most make you feel relaxed. She had a doctor's approach. I've studied and knew that there was something off. Peter M says private schools should be Ofsted inspected if they want to keep their charity status. Absolutely, it's ridiculous that they're not there. One Angry Pagan said, I read that Bangor vaccine news Peter sent me. Basically, they say that Labour's increased in funding and resources for the programme at great, but a lot more is needed there. Thanks for that, Pagan. Yeah, thought any stories on the badges wanted to just send to you anyway. So I think this needs to reduce stress on. I think this is to reduce stress on head teachers. I think it's going to, says One Angry Pagan. I think, yeah, we need to give it some time to see how it does. Not just strike, like, it's got to be something that, if it's going to seriously work, we need to give it a chance there for it to work. Get benefit claimants back to work to boost the economy. PM Charles, new welfare chief. Migrant hotel closures to fast-track Starmer faces unrest from Rebel MPs. This whole desperation of getting people off the welfare is not going to fix the problem. It's not going to fix the issues. They're only going to make things worse before they make things better. They think they're going to fix things just by getting people off the welfare. What Labour MPs are really saying about deputy leader race. The Vance-Lammy bromance will continue but risks cabinet tensions. Okay. BBC's children's classic to be revived in live-action feature film. RFK Jr.'s autism claims being discredited was really causing rising diagnosis. NHS hospital leader tables revealed, including A&E and operating waiting times. Workers, the right to not be sacked on your first day could be under threat, the unions are claiming. GCSE gender gap smallest since 2000, but English and maths are resit increase. We earn over 100,000 cancer are penalised for childcare. We're punished for working very hard. That's an old story. That is. They still don't. They say they have this education bit here at news. It's old. They don't update it. They don't update it nowhere near enough, guys. Don't update it nowhere near enough. Probably are going to have a look at the Boris files that the Guardian have, which we saw. Had a tad look at on in the after chat last night. This is The Independent. This is under UK politics. Streeton said the next deputy leader should ideally be a woman. Phillipson joins Labour's deputy race. Who is Peter Mandelson, the new Labour fixer to party grandee? Peter Mandelson's birthday message to Best Pal Epstein published. Ouch. Boris Johnson accused of profiting from contracts while in office. We're going to look at that more from The Guardian because it's their story. Nigel Farage ordered to pay £10,000 to Brexit Party founder. Mr. Farage intends to appeal the decision after the court awarded judgment in default. Nigel Farage has been ordered to pay more than £10,000 to the original founder of the Brexit Party. Kathleen Blairlock had brought legal proceedings after she claimed that she was forced out of the control of the party ahead of the 2019 European election. County Court in Plymouth awarded judgment in default after Mr. Farage failed to respond to papers sent against him. The court awarded a maximum of £9,999 in compensation plus £455 worth of costs. Ms. Badalock told The Independent the papers were served to Reform's head office in London. However, a spokesperson at Reform said the party and Mr Farage had not been aware of the claim and not received any papers. Yeah, probably because you guys threw them in the bin. Mr Farage will be instructing his lawyers to appeal against the judgment today, spokesperson said on Monday. The Brexit Party name was initially registered by Miss Balaloch, UKIP's former economic spokesperson. The Independent had previously reported how, in 2018, she was persuaded to do a deal with Mr Farage to effectively allow him to take over and lead the party as a limited company in April 2019. She claimed she was promised a chance to run for Parliament in Great Yarmouth in return, but the subsequent decision not to stand MPs against Tory MPs in that election meant she lost out. She resigned as director after Mr Farage said to have told her in a letter ahead of the 2019 European elections that a right-wing social media output would prevent them from being given a bank account by the Metro Bank. She has been accused of being Islamophobic on Twitter and was at the heart of a media storm which threatened to derail the insurgent party as Westminster, as Theresa May's government were being ripped apart by the Brexit debate. The original trust deal for the party Banderlock drew up in February 2019 would have given each member a share in it, but this was later abandoned. And in 2024, Rupert Lowe was chosen as a candidate for Great Yarmouth. After the Brexit Party became the Reform Party, Mr Farage and fellow shareholder Richard Tice allowed the Brexit Party's name to go in what appears to be an admin oversight. Miss Bangerlock brought it back last year. Previously said, I inadvertently created a Frankenstein monster of a party. Well, she's got skeletons in her own closet as well. Yeah, it's not 10,000 is nothing to Nigel Farage, but he's still going to fight it one way or another. I'm lucky I've got an amazing doctor, totally approachable and empathy abundance to Stephen Banker. Unfortunately, One Angry Pagan says, unfortunately, too many people in this country, talking England specifically, do not. I do think it would really help to get more people off benefits. I hear it all too often down here. Yep. They think, yeah, that people are intentionally on benefits because they've got nothing else to do with their life, which is not true. She's in NHS. She approached like a doctor. Counsellor technique, totally different. Not even a smile. You know, if I really wanted to claim benefits, I could do as well, but I don't want to. I want to earn my own money. I'm not somebody who is financially struggling, but obviously there are people out there who desperately need it. I'm gonna have a drink. Hopefully, it wears off before my 2 p.m. appointment. I hope that's not a drink. A drink of water is totally fine. A drink as in drink of water, right? I'm sure that's exactly what you meant. UK threatens to suspend visas. Ed Miliband defies Starmer in a bid to strip him of Energy Secretary brief. IT political says Keir Starmer wanted Ed Miliband to succeed Angela Rayner as housing minister, but he refused. He said to defy the bid by Keir Starmer to remove him from the Energy Department and give Angela Rayner a former department. The controversial Energy Secretary has become a lightning rod for right-wing attacks on Labour government because of his commitment to tackle climate change. He was offered the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government. Robert Peston has claimed. Mr Miliband apparently point-blank refused to quit his Energy Secretary job, where he's been on a mission to shut down carbon power energy and replace it with solar and wind farms. He wants to stick to this project. In the end, the job went to the former Environment Secretary Steve Reed, who was a background in local government. But the attempted move appears to be related to concerns that Mr Miliband's climate change measures are fueling support for Nigel Farage's Reform UK. Currently, Reform has a 10-point lead over Labour. Mr Farage has vowed to scrap net zero measures. Adding to the Reform-run councils, including Lincolnshire Mayor Dame Andrea Jenkins, are fighting in a series of court battles bids to block Mr Miliband's plans for wind and solar farms. Mr Miliband's a guest speaker at private dinner for leading TUC delegates on Monday night, where he's set to be welcomed as a hero. One senior TUC figure said Miliband is the last left-wing person left in the cabinet and he has our support. He arrives in Brighton amid claims by union members and the left on the Labour Party that the Prime Minister's reshuffle was a right-wing coup by Blairites in the party that have put things like workers' rights legislation at risk. Sir Keir notably will not use a keynote speaker this year, leaving the task instead to Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson. Among those worried about Mr Miliband's policies in the Department of Energy are thought to be allies of Chancellor Rachel Reeves, who see them as preventing growth and putting the energy prices up. Yeah, I'm happy that he's in the... don't get me wrong, I'm happy that Ed Miliband is still in his role as Energy Secretary. But it does sound like to me that they are trying to undermine him. He could be the next target for those on the right and those within Labour. What else is there? There's all other stuff here. South China Sea collision has done more than physical damage. Israel to demolish Palestinian homes in the wake of Jerusalem shooting. How electric nail clippers make a care safer and easier. The most common nationalities of migrants arrive in the UK illegally. Brits are beating along NHS queues by doing this one simple thing. Why everyone is excited about the Sugar smartwatch. I've seen that rubbish before. Let's see what else they've got here. Mystery donor offers 100,000k reward to find student who vanished. What is this? Jack Sullivan's mother, Kathleen, says the money reward which comes from another patient who has been following this case is in total shock. A complete stranger has come to the aid of a family desperately searching for a student who vanished after a night out by stumping up a 100,000 reward for anyone with information on his whereabouts. Kathleen Sullivan says she was in total shock after receiving the offer of support to find her son Jack, who was last year seen leaving the house in Hotwells area of Bristol in March last year. Despite an extensive investigation by Avion and Somerset police to locate Mr. Sullivan, including driving teams to search the River Avion in the city, no evidence has emerged to give the anguished family a clue of where he is. There's now hope that a £100,000 reward, which supersedes the £20,000 appeal to put up to the family, will finally provide answers. I hope so. I really hope they find him. I really hope so. Punter turns 52p bet into £12,000 payout in Nightmare for Bookies. Oh, that's really nice. That's a nice bet. It's a rare one, but it does happen. And these are some of these old stories here from the Independent. Let's switch out of the Independent. Oh, we've already got only a couple more left here. Thank you, Alison Keir, for another £2 super chat there. Oh, and another one just popped in there for that. Much appreciated. She's probably fine. It's fine to people. Probably different with me because I'm trans, says Ellie. Talking about something else there. Ed is a star player of this government. Well, I don't know if he's going to be able to continue. I'm not holding my breath on Ed Miliband being there in the long term. My worry is that they will try to oust him. I hope not. What they got here for the BBC? This is under politics. Bridget Phillips and enters the Labour deputy contest. Who could replace Angela Rayner? More on Angela Rayner. Baganout worried that the UK might need an IMF bailout. Why would the United Kingdom need an IMF bailout? So Kemi Baganout says she's really worried that the UK may be forced to embark on a 1976-style bailout from the International Monetary Fund. She does realise that we can create our own money. She does realise that, right? My God. The Conservative leader told BBC Newsnight that the UK could be forced to go cap in hand to the IMF unless the government delivers a plan for economic growth. So she made her remarks as she offered to work with Keir Starmer in the national interest to cut welfare spending, saying cuts and growth were needed to help the government out of a doom loop of rising taxes and precarious public finances. Yeah, I wonder what government or political party was responsible for putting us in this mess in the first place, guys. You know, the party that's caused this mess now claims that they want to help out. Peter, thank you so much for that £5 super chat. Very nice of you. Buy yourself something pretty. Thank you for that, Peter. That's very, very generous of you. No changes in the gold chat as it changed. I might be bugged out if I'm honest, Alistair. But I think it's bugged out probably. That's probably what it is. But thank you for the super chats. Honestly, appreciate it. I think it's just bugged out for some reason, the super chat thing. I don't know why. A Labour source said that Baganout had a brass neck for offering such advice after the Conservatives had crashed the economy. Chancellor Rachel Reeves dismissed the idea that the UK would need an IMF bailout during an interview with BBC last week. The Labour government of the late Prime Minister Jim Gallagher was forced to apply for a £3.9 billion emergency loan from the IMF during the 1976 sterling crisis. That was seen as a sentimental event in a post-war economic history, which severely undermined the economic credibility of the Callaghan government. Asked what made her think that the UK is heading towards the need for an IMF bailout, Baganout said, "A lot of indicators are pointing in that direction. Many very well-respected commentators in economics are saying this, such as no names. You're not going to write. You're not going to give us names, then, no. A number of economics, mainly on the right, have in recent weeks raised the prospect of a version of the 1976 sterling crisis repeating itself. Other economics have dismissed this as hyperbole. Andrew Sentence, a former member of the Bank of England Monetary Policy Committee, wrote of in parallels between the position of the current Chancellor of that of the late Dennis Henley and the Chancellor during the 1976 sterling crisis. But in an article for The Sun last month, Dr. Sentence concluded the UK may not end up calling in the IMF. We have so much wealth, and the fact that Kemi Bakkenot has got the nerve to even say maybe we should call the IMF, and I'm just like, for what? We have the money. The money is here. The money is here in the UK. The money is here. It's just a case of utilising it. It's a case of redoing our tax network. It's so insane that she's even talking about this. Government, but like the debts that we already got debts to pay, right? Imagine the debt that we have to pay to the IMF on top of the debts that we already have. It's just ridiculous. Government borrowing from investors to selling bonds, which is a loan the government promises to pay back by the end of agreed time. The yield is on a 30-year UK government bonds, which are known as gilts, have been raising for a number of months, although they are now falling back slightly. Baggenot said there was a crisis in UK bond prices. Yes, I'm aware this is a problem. She pointed to the UK's borrowing costs hitting a 27-year high last week as yet another indicator and stressed we are not growing enough. Tory leader said Labour does not have any plans for growth, adding they thought as soon as they got into power things would just work because they're Labour, but they believe in their own righteousness. Now, this is where I will hit back at her. Like, there was never going to be a case of Labour coming in and everything was going to be fixed all straight away. Like, you really have to be an idiot if you thought Labour were going to come in and fix everything overnight. No, everything's going to take time. Now, there are things that Labour are doing which I vehemently disagree with. Such as keeping the two-child benefit cap, the changes they made to the winter fuel payments, and they were obviously looking at the changing of the way the welfare system would be claiming benefits as well, which is infuriating. But they've obviously rolled back on it for now. But to say that they were going to fix everything overnight, they never said that. They never said they were going to fix everything overnight. Well, that is not working. You need to get plans to grow our economy. Otherwise, we'll end up going to the IMF cap in hand. Again, like, I'm not, like, can't be taking her comments seriously. Dismissing a suggestion that she was taking the country down, she claimed that doing nothing would be a dereliction of my duty in my part. And she said that instead offering an olive branch to the Prime Minister work with him. No, your party left us in this mess. And it's not just her party. It's literally her and her shadow cabinet are all people who were part of the government, part of that establishment. Like, if it was here's the thing, guys, in all seriousness, right? If Kemi Baggenot wasn't part of the previous regime, if her shadow cabinet wasn't part of the previous regime, people would be more inclined to suggest this. But because she was part of the cabinet, part of the people who, all part of the austerity, of Brexit, of how they handled the pandemic, like, when the war started in Ukraine, all these things, right? They handled all these things really, really badly. Okay, I will say the war in Ukraine, they kind of did pretty well in terms of, from the government's perspective, they did very well in terms of helping Ukrainians and helping weapons supplies. That I will give them an olive branch on. But to say to say this is just insulting. Quite, if we do get this sort of crisis because of bad decisions, we're all going to suffer, she said. Again, this is scaremongering. There's no benefit to the opposition party in the country that's doing badly. We want our country to do well, and we will work in the national interest to get that. Well, you can start by shutting up. That would be the first thing you could do, if you're generally serious, Kemi. That would be the best thing you could do. Trust, cash the economy. Of course, absolutely class action. People forget that, and yet Liz Truss is still allowed to talk. She's still allowed to talk. Some of these stories are old stories already. MPs push for change on Palestine action, but ministers stand firm. Some MPs have piled pressure on the government to change tack on its prescription of Palestine action after another weekend of mass arrests. There were 890 arrests at a demonstration in London on Saturday against the ban of the group. which is prescribed under anti-terrorism legislation by the UK government in July. The scale of the arrests at a level not seen since the poll tax riots in the 1990s. And the division of police from other areas was criticised by MPs, including many from Labour. Security Minister Dan Jarvis told the Commons that there had been 17 arrests for attacking police officers, and he insists the experts behind the prescription decision had acted independently of government. Stella Creasy, the Labour MP from Walthamstow, brought the issue to Parliament as an urgent question, warning the seriousness of the term terrorism risks losing its meaning because it's being diluted rather than strengthened. Prescription was supposed to be about stopping these enticing direct harm and violence, she said. Going after somebody with a poster testing the boundaries of liberty, many of whom are clear that they don't support Palestine action, but they feel strongly about Palestine's right of free speech, confuses rather than clarifies the government's intention. However, Jarvis stood firm that the group was not a legitimate protest group, but one with terrorism connections, according to experts' assessments, that should be banned. There's no evidence to suggest this. Okay, they've not provided evidence that suggests this. It's really not that hard to do a bit of research yourself on it. You can Google it. The only thing that prescribes them, based on the term of the Terrorism Act, of what prescribes the word of a terrorist group in the UK, the only caveat in it is whether it is to cause property damage, which is what Palestine Action have done. But when it comes to the other, that's the only thing of why they say, oh, this is why Palestine Action are a terrorist group, or because of this one thing they do. Everything else is kind of different. I really hope you can't hear that drilling in the background. Anyone who wishes to demonstrate about the humanitarian situation in Gaza or their actions for any government, including their own, has the absolute freedom to gather with others and voice their views, provided they do so within the law. But supporting Palestine and supporting a prescribed terrorist organisation is not the same thing, he added. They're not a terrorist organisation, but you smeared them as one. The validity and importance of this Palestinian right should not be co-opted by one organisation that has shown its willingness to put violence in pursuit of its cause. Now, it's also important to stress as well with this, in terms of the terms violence. I've said this before, there were allegations, and I looked this up, there were allegations that members of Palestine Action on one of its runs, or one of its runs, when they were sabotaging places and whatnot, there were allegations that they assaulted people. They are allegations, so I don't know how serious they are, and the outcomes have still not been done on those cases in particular. So it is worth pointing that out there. So there has been those stories, guys. He contested the arrest with Palestine Society campaign demonstration in central London, where 20,000 people peacefully marched on the same day. Liberal Democrat spokesperson Lisa Smart said the mass arrest set a dangerous precedent, and that was deeply alarming, and that violence, anti-Semitic abuse, or hate speech crimes were already covered by existing law. She asked Jarvis to review terrorism legislation, specifically as it impacts the right to peacefully protest, to ensure its proponents and contains the nuisance so it clearly needs. He responded that I don't agree events this weekend have had a chilling effect on our democracy, adding tens of thousands of people have been able to demonstrate in an entirely reasonable and lawful way. I saw a video clip. I don't know if you guys have seen there was a clip online on X, and it's also on Twitter. There was a veteran. I don't know how old he was, but he was in a wheelchair, right? And he's obviously had a placard saying that he supported Palestine Action, right? Did you know what the police officers did? In this clip, they basically picked him up out of his wheelchair to take him to a police car in front of crowds of people with phones and everything. A man who was crippled in his wheelchair. And I'm just thinking to myself, like this man is not a terrorist. Like, this man is not a threat to... It's not a threat. But, I don't know, guys. I don't know. Interesting to know if the prescription of Palestine Action has been put into Scottish law yet. Dave McGuinness is looking into it, as I couldn't find much info on it recently, as it was only to arrest at March. By a different reason, there's lots of Palestine flags and signs. Yeah, the thing is that as long as this prescription of Palestine Action continues, it gives the police the powers to carte blanche other groups that aren't directly supporting Palestine Action. A reason to target them, which is why it needs to be scrapped. But Israel are desperate for this to stay in, because they want Palestine supporters to be undermined in every way, shape, or form. Kim Johnson, Labour MP for Liverpool Riverside, described the arrest as absurd and authoritarian, targeting people for peacefully holding a placard. Dr. Simons, all for a Labour MP for Shroud, and several of his. I really hope you can't hear that noise. Only you guys. Let me know in the chat if you can actually hear that drilling and banging. Secretary's constituents have been arrested under legislation he prescribed as a sledgehammer to crack a nut. Labour MP for Sheffield Central, Abstain Mohammed, said several of her constituents were among those arrested and urged the ban to be overturned. The Terrorism Act wasn't brought in to arrest vicars, retired grandmothers and NHS consultants for holding a placard, she pointed out. Justice insisted the actions of the government have been necessary and proportionate, adding that some supporters of the ban group do not fully understand the activities that the organisation has engaged in. Objectors were joined by former Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn, now independent, who says that the weight of history was against the ban and urged Jarvis not to prescribe peaceful protests. In response, the minister said he had a sneaky suspicion Corbyn was part of the protest and said the government hasn't done anything to stand in the way of him and his colleagues to do that. Yeah, because you would love nothing more than Jeremy Corbyn to be arrested so that he can stop there. Can hear your neighbours, but it's not that bad. Okay. Well, it's literally right next door, guys. So unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about it. Yeah, it's a shame, but they've got to do the work. Conservative Shadow Home Secretary Chris Twat backed the government's ban on Palestine action, saying that they had used a sledgehammer to attack a police officer and deliberately sabotage RF planes. That's not how we do things in this country, he said. We settle things through debate and we settle things through elections, he says. Of course, Chris Twat would say such a thing, wouldn't he, guys? He would say such a thing. What else? Is there any other stories here that we haven't already seen? No, we've seen most of them. Let's have a look at the front of UK here. Vape ban isn't working, it says waste firm boss. Best and worst performances NHS trusts in England are being named. No one is irreplaceable, says BBC chief after scandals. Mystery donor offered 100,000 cable wall. Looked at that already. A British endurance swimmer becomes the first to swim around Iceland. Oh, well, I tell you what, for a body like that, cool, look at that. He's swam around Iceland. British endurance swimmer Ross Elligy becomes the first person to swim around Iceland after spending nearly 4 months circumventing 1,000 miles of coastline. The 39-year-old from Cheshire crossed the finish line in Reykjavik on Monday afternoon, where he was greeted with a Viking horn and sprayed with champagne. Mr. Eggley had previously joked that the challenge would be the closest thing yet to swimming around Asgard, the mythical home of the Norse god Thor. He said the idea for the swim came from actor Chris Hemsworth, who famously played Thor in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The athlete began the swim in Reykjavik on May the 17th, expected to face choppy waters, killer rows and temperatures as low as 3 degrees. He completed the challenge by swimming for 6 hours and then resting for 6 hours on a dedicated supported yacht. Majority originally from Grantham, Lincolnshire, documented the challenge extensively on social media, showing videos of himself swimming in the extreme conditions and the recovery routines he undertook during the rest. He said that he suffered extreme wet suit chafing, and that's part of his and that parts of his tongue fell off due to salt water exposure. Wow! Oh my God, that's terrible. Oh, parts of the tongue. Prior to embarking on the challenge, he said you had to consume over 10,000 calories a day to add as much insulation as possible in order to combat potential hypothermia. And she wrote on social media that after completing the swim day, it wasn't just a swim, but also a scientific expedition for ocean conversation. The swimmer collected daily eDNA samples from water surrounding Iceland's coastline with the aim of building up a picture of biodiversity and microplastics in the region. The research was done in collaboration with a number of scientific organisations, including the University of Iceland. Actually, he had completed a number of other swimming endurance challenges, including 1,791 miles in 179 days around the coast of Great Britain and 317 miles around the Yukon River in Canada. The athlete is featured in several episodes of Hemsworth's documentary series Limitless. That's pretty awesome. Not a bad picture of him as well, I will say that as well. So it's very, very cool to swim around the whole of Iceland. Damn. Fair play to him. I'm angry it's not right. Locals want the Simon Hotel shut, but our shared house is the answer. Yeah, but yeah, I'll take it with a pinch of salt when it comes from the BBC there. Got about 4 minutes left, so we'll have a quick run through some of the other stories here. Let's have a quick look at Sky News. Here, just a reminder that I'll be back again live at 6 o'clock for global news, guys. So if you could join me for that, it'd be greatly appreciated. More people enter the race there. Israel not committing genocide in Gaza, says UK government. That's because they can't say it because they don't want to upset their Israeli masters. These are all stories we've already heard about. Is there anything else here? Check where your hospital ranks in NHS published league tables for the first time. Water firms fined 87 million for sewage failures. BBC chief tells MPs we may see more things coming out after the talent scandal. Oh, he's talking about the Strictly Come Dancing scandal. I believe that's what he's talking about. 2 men died outside football grounds unloading glass panels from lorry. Oh my God. And Pret books £533 million charge on UK tax hikes and global uncertainty. And something about Prince William and Harry, which none of us are really interested in there. And I'm sure none of you guys are interested in there. Right, let's have a quick nose at this, guys. The Boris Files. Calls to halt Boris Johnson's 150,000 allowance after Boris File revelations. Senior politicians want taxpayer-funded supporters for former PM suspended as Watchdog opens an investigation. So here are a couple of stories here on the front of it. They've got different pieces here on The Guardian if you want to have a look yourself. So they got here Saudi Arabia. Felon admirer how Boris Johnson courted Saudi officials for private gain. Leaked documents appear to show Johnson used political contracts in commercial approach to the Crown Prince. Another one here of how Boris Johnson traded PM contracts for global business deals. Leak exposes how the former leader has used public subsidised office to manage commercial interests there. Another one here. Boris Johnson was paid £240,000 after Nicolas Morado meeting. Invoices show. Johnson's office sent invoices to hedge fund managers, which was paid weeks after meeting Venezuelan leader last year. And here's another one that will add insult to injury. Boris Johnson had dinner in lockdown with peer funding flat refits, file suggests. Apparent meeting with David Brownlow is one of several potential further lockdown breaches revealed in Boris's file. What a surprise! He had more. Does it really surprise you that Boris did more things during lockdown that he wasn't supposed to do? I'm pretty sure it doesn't surprise anyone at all. Martin Howard, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. But yeah, that's the Boris Files there, guys. I might. I don't know if I'll ever do like a breakdown video in detail of them all, but it might be worth doing a full video potentially of them. Other stuff here. Meta hides harms to children from VR products, whistleblowers allege. Oh, this is US politics. Hold on, let me come back out. Where is UK politics? Just quickly before we head out. Other stuff here. Former PM said they used subsidy only for public duties after Boris Johnson revelations. PM Allison called Jeffrey Epstein my best pal. Peter Carl, the tech prime minister, charged with kickstarting UK growth. Yeah, good luck with that. And that's about it there. Hello, Joe. Good to see you there. Thanks for popping in. Much appreciated, buddy. There. Any other stories worth looking at here, just out of curiosity? UK retail sales rise, but stores fear tax worries could hit the festive period. There. That's what they got there. So that's some of the stories from The Guardian. Obviously, the main one is obviously the Boris Files. Unfortunately, I won't be able to cover that just yet. I have saved it on my Discord as one to look at later on there. But ran out of time here, guys, I'm afraid. Just a quick reminder, again, I'll be live later on today at 6 o'clock. So if you guys can join me for Global News in 6 hours' time, feel free to do so. But I am done for now. But I want to say thank you guys all for coming along. Thank you for those who gave super chats. Thank you, Alison Keir, for the gifted memberships. Enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you guys are doing. Take care of yourselves as always. Mind the wind and rain if there is a lot of wind and rain where you are as well. But yeah, thanks to guys again, really appreciate it. But before you head out, if you can, just before you go, hit that like button, share this across social media, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel already. Do check out Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. You can check out our Discord community, which is free to join as well. And again, thank you all for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.